You lose your identity. You lose who you actually are. You lose how you show up to yourself on a day-to-day basis. Does this happen to you? Is this someone that you're like, wait a second, like I actually identify with this because I knew who I used to be. I used to be this strong, confident person. I used to be this person that knew who I was, that wouldn't take anything from people, but now I'm not. Now I just seem to like roll over and just do whatever. Because a lot of times people have been in a toxic relationship and it's produced this like level of like dependence upon another person. Good morning. Hope you guys are doing well. This produced this level of like dependence on another person where you start to lose your identity. But even more than losing your identity, it starts to be like your own lifeblood is actually sucked out by being with a toxic person. You've seen this. You're with someone who's negative. You've been with someone or you've seen someone or you've gone to work one day and you've shown up and the person there just has a negative attitude. And you feel like when you walk into work, you're like, oh, it's not too bad. When you walk out of work, like life feels awful because it's like you were inundated with that energy, with that environment. And this is what happens when you're with a narcissist. You're in this toxicity the entire time that locks you into this feeling and this emotion of like, wait a second, this is actually draining. Like this is taking a lot from me. Time and time and time again. Okay, so like when we see this aspect happen a lot of times in narcissistic abuse, it has a lot of different effects that happen to people. Now I'm talking like people that develop like autoimmune disease because they're with a narcissist, because of the stress that they've been put under. People that start to develop different deficiencies, different things that are there that have never been there before. Different stresses, different things that have happened in their life and in their relationships. They're like, this never happened this way. Why is it such a struggle now? And you see this happen time and time again when you're in a toxic relationship. It starts to take everything from you. It starts to suck the life out of you. This is a huge piece. Jonathan, thanks. Appreciate it. This is a huge piece, okay, that we see is oftentimes you'll get to the place where it'll be sucking the life out of you. So the question I have for you is, how is it actually affecting you today? Okay, being with a narcissistic person, how is it actually affecting you today? How is it first off showing up in your body? Like, how is it showing up physically? Where you're at the place where like, I don't even have the drive to do anything anymore. Like, I don't even work out anymore. I don't have any like get up and go to actually get up in the morning. I feel stressed all the time. I have these levels of anxiety that's super frustrating. Like, how is it showing up to you on a day-to-day basis in your body of how you're actually showing up? The second one is, how is this actually showing up in your spirituality? Now, not just like God in the universe, 100%, but then also your mental and your emotional self of like what's actually going on inside. What has been the cost of you being with a toxic person? Pure exhaustion with the body piece. Yeah, 100%. A lot of times we see that. Anxiety, weight gain, depression. A lot of times people go into hair loss. Like that is a very common one with that. With the stress, kidney disease has advanced exponentially. Yeah, 100%. Loss, yeah, 100%. Stomach issues, brain fog, 100%. Like all of these we see. I like said it and then we jumped so fast that I caught up with all the comments. Sorry. All right, so the second one, spirituality. Now with the spirituality piece, like what about your connection to God? What about your connection to like how you're actually showing up for yourself every single day? Like how you're showing up with your purpose, with your calling, with the direction, with the person that you know you're actually created to be, but you're selling yourself short because the other person said you weren't good enough. Said you couldn't amount to anything, said you weren't good enough for them, and they showed that. This changes how you'll be able to process your emotions, your feelings, how you'll be able to tap into, yes, joy, how you're able to tap into joy, to gratitude, to thankfulness, to the things that are actually going on inside and leave you oftentimes feeling lost. How is this actually affecting your relationships? Now, obviously, there's one relationship that's really toxic or you wouldn't be here. But how is it reflecting your relationships with other people? How are you showing up as a good, healthy mom for your daughters, for your sons? How are you able to show up as a confident person with clarity saying, hey, this is what to accept and this is not what to accept in a toxic relationship? How are you showing up to your coworkers, of being there, of interacting with them? How are you showing up for your friends, for your family? Maybe you're so disconnected from all of that, you're like, that doesn't even exist in my life. How does it show up in your relationships? How does it affect it when the narcissist is sucking the life out of you? And then the fourth one, how is it showing up in your business? and your lack of willingness to have a drive, to have an intention, to have a focus, to have a calling in what you're actually supposed to do in creating and producing. There's many people out there that are powerful business owners, but they've been seduced by a toxic person. They've been manipulated, and it leaves them with a lot of confusion because they're like, wait a second, I could do really good in business, but this person has me feeling like nothing. And they're confused with that. They're frustrated with it. Because until you understand how it's affecting those different areas, we can't actually build a plan to work on those areas. We can't build a plan to move forward and to help you grow in all 4 of those areas. So many people only do one really well, but they don't do all of them. We start to script out and help you on the healing journey to the growth mindset to get to the place where you can actually step into the place where that person is no longer sucking the life out of you. But instead, you're able to start growing in how you're actually showing up for yourself. You're able to get rid of the brain fog. Maybe you're getting into the gym. Maybe we're starting to work on your daily habits. You're drinking your daily greens. You're doing things that's putting your body into a place as a physical weapon of power, saying, hey, I'm actually in control of it versus letting everything else stress out and control me. We're working on like how you're actually showing up spiritually, of like understanding who you are, where you're going, the creator that actually designed you, what you actually believe about that. Do you actually know what you believe about that? Getting to the place where you set on your emotional and your mental support, understanding the voices inside, the stories that you're telling yourself. Getting to the place where you're actually able to have clarity so you can show up highly engaged with your kids, with your family, with your coworkers, with your friends, and showing them this is how we continue to grow and develop. And getting to the place where you're able to maximize and drive back into it, because it all interconnects back into your business to help develop and become the person you're called to be and develop the lifestyle you want to live based on no longer the limiting beliefs of the toxic person, but of who you actually want to become. But the cost that you've already suffered is pretty great. It's left you ravaged, it's left you depressed, it's left you frustrated, it's left you with a lot of anxiety, it's left you thinking that you're not sure if healing is actually possible. And it's not just enough for me to say, hey, it is. I can say that day in, day out. And some of you would believe it. Some of you sign up and some of you do not believe it. And you'd be like, nope, it's not possible. And then you stay stuck. But have you considered when you think through the idea that it's not possible, it sells you into the mindset of a victim that means you never can change, you never can get better, and it will always stay the same. And I can show you countless examples of people that it no longer does.